So you remember Saint Bernard? We talked about him recently. When Saint Bernard got done with the First Crusade, there was a couple issues going on with him. One is he didn't have much to do, in my opinion, and that's why him and Hugh de Payens started the Knights Templar. But also, something had changed in his belief system, and it's my opinion that that's the point in time when he converted from an Adonist to a son to a basically to a moon worshiper. I want to say, I don't mean that. But he went from worshiping the patriarchal form of things to having an interest in the female or the matriarchal form of things. And one of the things that I was getting about with Akhenaten and Moses is that they came in to town with this sun worship thing, with this patriarchal point of view, and they were hostile about enforcing this and teaching this and wiping everything else out. But what happened is that, and one of the things that folks don't want to talk about in the mainstream is that Jesus was here on behalf of the feminine aspect, on behalf of God, the feminine aspect of God trying to make a comeback. And that's one of the things that St. Bernard found out when he went there is that to Jerusalem is he found out that the real belief systems of Jesus have been swept under the rug in the name of these Adonists, in the name of these mining families, in the name of these folks. That's right, I said mining families. Families that would have good cause to commit genocide over things like the gold rush. But anyways, when Saint Bernard came back, he had a statue of Mary Magdalene that he started praying to all the time, and back then it was common for people to pray to the saints, and he was like, fuck you guys, I'm praying to Mary Magdalene. But he had a peculiar statue of Mary Magdalene in that she was black. He had a black statue of Mary Magdalene, and when you see images of what's called the Black Madonna, that is St. Bernard's version of the Mary Magdalene. He's saying that she was black, and if you look at those old statues of Mary Magdalene from back then, they look very similar to Isis, and there's a lot of stuff that points to the idea that maybe Saint Bernard and the other knights had been into this. And here's the truth of it. The truth is that they didn't have anywhere to stay, and so the Byzantine the Byzantine patriarch at the time, he said, well, you guys can go ahead and stay in the old stables of King Solomon's temple. And when they started digging underneath there, and yeah, they just started digging like of their own accord. They started looking for something, and whatever they were looking for, they fucking found it. And whatever it was their reason for starting the Second Crusade. And the Second Crusade was a diversion for St. Bernard so that he could go kick in the door at the church in Constantinople and take the head of John the Baptist. Because he had come to the conclusion, for whatever reason, that the head of John the Baptist was important to have. He had an understanding like that we have of the Holy Grail. He thought that that's what was going to happen. He thought that the head of John the Baptist was what we think of as the Grail. He thought that this thing was going to heal him. It was going to give him alchemical powers. It was going to make him a fucking druid wizard, fucking kick-ass. It was going to make him the ultimate warrior, and it was going to make all of his boys the ultimate warriors. So, Philip the Fair, one of the things that he tried to do in order to take care of his debt was he tried to join the Cistercians. Remember, like the Knights Templar, he tried to join that order because because in taking his vow of poverty, he would have wiped out all of his debt to everyone. And but the problem is that they had no personal respect for him, and so they did not accept his applications to the Cistercian order or to the Knights Templar, and so he got his get back the way he got it. And and we can judge what we want to of him. He's dead now, whatever. But but at the same time, I want to talk about it sucks that no one was here to talk about what really happened, and I just want to touch on that stuff a little bit. So, he had to have people that he knew worm their way into the Templars in order to find something to hold against them, in order to railroad them, in order to take their gold, in order to have the questions regarding the cat. And so what happens is a couple of guys wormed their way in, and at a couple of incidents they saw the head of John the Baptist, and they didn't know what it was. It was a mummified head of John the Baptist, and they thought it was some kind of weird fucking cat head or something. And so these fucking inquisitors in the confessions are saying, "What about the cat?" And they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And the Knights Templar might have an idea, you know, but it doesn't matter, man. The truth is they were doing what they were told. All of them were, just like any good Secret Service guys was. And the head of their order at the time, Bernard, and it passed all the way down to Desmoulins. He said, "Hey, man, we're gonna get this fucking head and we're gonna keep it." And to what extent he had it, I don't know. You know what I mean? Whatever. So, but Philip the Fair didn't know what it was, man. He just thought it was a cat. A satanic cat. And that was what he had him on. He had him on this cat. And he put them all to death over the cat. What an idiot. But what can you expect out of it, man? You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. Some of these, anyways.